Well, they did it. They beat Team Liquid, and they are headed off to the end of playoffs, automatically not having to go face TSM. I'm joined right now by Santorin with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm gonna slump down a little bit because I realized you were
Oh
sitting a
yeah.
little closer before.
Should I sit closer?
Yeah, there we go.
Is this
Now
better?
I don't want to look way taller than you. Then I
Okay,
don't.
okay, okay, like that.
Yeah, your
Okay,
reputation will
okay.
become tarnished. Either way, of course, this coverage brought to you by Alienware. Santorin, you guys just beat Team Liquid. I feel like I'm going to be as respectful as I can. I predicted TL because they were the higher seed team and they won. They came in first or whatever. Did you think that this was a surprise victory or an upset?
Honestly, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but Solo had this interview on stage where it's like, haha, TL is scared of picking us. I personally felt like in regular season we should have 2-0'd them on stage. We had this like one very bad Baron where we threw a game, and then even in this series, I felt really really comfortable. I feel like it was us making mistakes, and that's why we were losing. I mean, that's kind of how I always see it against TL. It's like if you make the right decisions, the right plays, and you snowball properly, I feel like you'll win. But if you make too many mistakes, that's when like TL will take over and like crush you, right? And I feel like in this best of five, we definitely made a lot of mistakes, and they took advantage of that. But in the end, we made more good plays than mistakes, I guess.
Well, before we get on to the fun stuff, I do want to ask you about the end of Game 4, where
Oh no.
like literally people are like, "This game is over," and then Tactical just comes out there and starts murdering people. What was it like to be on the receiving end of that?
Honestly, I mean, we definitely made the mistake of like going one by one kind of thing, where like Tactical just went hero mode. Obviously it's really well played by him, but I feel like it should have been in our control. That was one of the big mistakes, where it's like we definitely have the game in our hand, and we kind of give him this like little last opportunity to win the game. But I mean, just in general, I think Tactical is a great player, and obviously, like I'm also happy for him that he gets these kind of moments, you know.
Is FlyQuest the best team in North America right now?
Honestly, I would say so. I mean, I'm always kind of humble about it because I feel like we're always underestimated as a team. But I mean, now we're in the finals again, second time in a row. We just took down C9, who basically was the team that beat us last year, or like a last split. So
Yeah.
now we feel really confident that we'll be able to beat whoever we face.
That just seems like it would be remarkable. It would be historic, right? Because if you guys do actually win this out, it'd be the first time where a team that is not TSM, TL, C9, or I guess CLG back in the day,
Oh yeah,
won. And so it's weird because it's like I've been covering for this for so long, and I just I have to be honest, it'll be hard for me to predict for you guys just because the amount of times that I have seen the other team win. So I don't know. It sounds like you're pretty confident that you're going to be able to take that victory.
Well, I mean, at least the series against TL, it felt like sure it was 3-2, but I felt like it was somewhat one-sided. I felt like it was us making all the decisions, all the plays, and we just made too many mistakes. And I mean, obviously, like we can't do this, like if we're gonna win the entire thing. But it just felt like the games were always in our control, which is usually like a really nice feeling to have. I would say though, I think TSM has been looking really strong. So let's say like for some reason TSM beats TL, I do see like I actually don't know how good they really are, and I guess I can't really like predict that series if we face them.
I mean, that's what I was going to say too. Is what do you think is going to happen in that match? Because I think a lot of people should be assuming that TL will take it based off of again seeding and all that stuff. But it just feels as though TSM is kind of powering up right now.
Yeah, I think TSM has been honestly playing really great compared to previous. I mean, normally when we have these interviews, I'm kind of just shit talking TSM, but they're actually playing pretty well. And I think honestly, Spiga has been honestly playing really well. I mean, usually I feel like Spiga was kind of one of the weak points, but he's actually stepping up and playing really, really well. And I feel like that is just making the team so much more scary. Because I mean, you have Björk, who's been playing amazing the entire year. You have Doublelift, who seems to also be back in shape. You put Bifrost back in your lineup. I feel like all the stats for them are aligning right now, so they're definitely a scary team to face.
Yeah. What do you? I guess yeah. What would be your prediction then for the TLTSM game?
That's a hard one because it can go either way. Like either like TSM comes out swinging, or TL would just like run them over. Like it's kind of hard to figure out because I feel like if TSM doesn't like bring this like very aggressive early game style, I feel like TL would just slowly like win the game. Just like that's always TL wins. I could see it going to game 5 and actually being like a really competitive series.
I've noticed that twice now I've asked you the same question. You have not given me an answer to the question either
Okay, I'll give
time.
you an answer. I'll actually, just because how I think TSM looked really good, I would actually give it to TSM.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. That's the headline, and everyone will run with it. And if TL beats them, everyone will say, wow, LOL, look at this guy. Anyway,
Yeah, basically.
do you think that there's any advantage to you're in a unique situation now where because of the format, you have no advantage going into you don't have any game advantage or whatever going in, even though you guys are coming in through the winners bracket.
Yeah.
And I often feel as though the team that gets to play more games ends up being in better form. So I almost kind of wonder, like, are you happy to be in this situation where you automatically make it in and you can just watch the next game and then or the next match and then play whoever comes out of that? Or do you think it's kind of nice for whoever is in that match or comes out of that match that they've had this extra set to get even better at, and they might be coming off of a fresh win from the day before, etc.?
Yeah, honestly, that's a really good question. For me, it very so basically like they're gonna play a best of 5. Let's say it goes to game 5, and then we play them the day after. First of all, I mean it's very draining, like having a series like that. Secondly, they have to show their drafts, and they're gonna show everything they have, especially if it goes to game 5. So I definitely feel like there's an advantage of like just waiting for the winner. But also I mean FlyQuest, we've always been going to game 5. We played so many goddamn stage games now. And I honestly, it definitely feels like it's helping, you know, like it feels more comfortable playing on stage and you feel more confident, especially like after just beating a team. Whereas like if you're just sitting there watching, you're like, damn, this team actually beat, like let's say TL versus TSM, one team like kind of shit on the other team. Sorry
Yeah.
for my word, but then you kind of get like a little intimidated, you know, like damn, these guys are actually really strong and they have all the confidence going into the series. So I can see like being good for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, especially if TSM is the victor. Like, at least if TL wins, then you could be like, okay, we beat these guys last week. It's fine.
Yeah.
But if TSM wins, then it's like, oh, God, what did the losers bracket do to these guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Golden Guardians beat them in the best of 3, and it
Yeah, like
turned them into a
3-0, like, and
monster.
then they
Yeah.
just smurfing on everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
An interesting situation to be in for sure. Now, I'm kind of curious. You know, I don't think you and I had a chance to talk after you qualified to make it to Worlds, because I ended up talking to Power of Evil. But what has this experience been for you, requalifying to Worlds and making it in?
Honestly, I'm so excited. I'm so stoked. As a player, this is all I've been looking for the past 5 years. I feel like on TSM, I kind of threw my what was the word? I kind of like threw away like a kind of a gift, you know. Like I got to play on world stage. I didn't feel like I was ready, and now the last 5 years, I felt more ready than ever. And I just really wanted this experience one more time to prove myself as a player and just have this kind of redemption story for myself. Because I mean, this is all a pro player wants. You want to go to Worlds and you want to do well. And I know this is kind of a meme, and they doing well at Worlds. You know that this doesn't really go hand in hand. But at some point we gotta change that, and hopefully I can be a part of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another player who has like had like a half a decade gap in between Worlds appearances. I don't mean that as a slam to you. I mean like a lot of players honestly give up. Like they go to Worlds and then maybe they play for a couple more years, and if they don't make it, they throw in the towel, or you know they just never get back to the form that they were in whenever they made it. So I think it's quite impressive to see that you have stuck with it all this time and that you've now brought yourself back and your team back to or with FlyQuest to World. So I don't know. I mean, that's got to feel, as you said, like a huge, I don't know, moment of victory because you've been waiting all this time. Yeah.
It feels amazing, and honestly, like I know people were memeing it, like when we made it to Worlds, like we were just like beat C9. I was actually just like staring at my monitor, like I did no expressions or anything. That was only because I was literally in shock. It felt like, you know, like I couldn't believe that I'm actually back and I'm gonna go to Worlds. It's something that I've been looking forward to for like basically half of my career now, or like more than half of my career, because I've probably played competitive for 7 or 8 years, and 5 of those years I've just been kind of like losing relegations, like playing in Challenger Series. Like I've been through like so many ups and downs, and now it just feels kind of surreal that we're actually going to Worlds, and I just can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed this, for some reason the green light is now hitting your forehead, and so
Oh.
the water is coming through your head. So we need to make sure that you could go deal with that. Oh no, it's getting worse as time goes on.
Oh my god.
So here, well, I'm gonna just send you this clip really quickly. So I've been
Okay.
watching. I don't know if PoE told you about. Oh my god, getting worse. I don't know if PoE told you about this, but I've been watching the Medio Sneaky co-streams,
Yeah.
and at the end, I've been asking them if they have a question for. Are you doing this intentionally
No,
now?
I like what I'm trying to figure out what I
Wait,
should be doing with
maybe
my
lean back more,
lean
back
back
to
more.
where you were before, because it wasn't as bad.
Well, I think
Okay,
the
now
lighting.
it's getting really bad. Yeah, you're getting a lot of. What's happening is the green light is like reflecting onto you,
Yeah.
and so it's breaking through. But I absolutely love this. You're becoming part of the sea. This is like
Okay.
uh
This is after 2 years with
Pirates of the
FlyQuest, then you
Caribbean or
just
whatever.
become a part of
Yes,
nature.
exactly. Sequest is literally you're turning into the ocean. Anyway,
Yeah.
whatever. The point is, I've got a clip I'm going to send you.
Well, the only question I have would be the Eve thing, because he did E second on Eve. I don't know, I'm still a fan of the W.
Oh yeah, tell him about it. Tell him about it.
Tell him about it. I'm sure he knows. I'm sure he's thought about it. Because I do know.
You think so?
I think Emax second is more common, but to me, I think W's better. So maybe just ask him his insights into that. Like if he has any extra
He's
info I
tried
hadn't considered.
W max. W second max.
Ask if game throw 4 was intentional. He tweeted that it was.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did you happen to notice the double bombs right in front of you? When you walked into the pit?
Yeah, that.
Okay. So let's handle the second part first. The idea that you threw to make it a game 5 because you were tired of the matches going too short. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, as I've been very vocal about game 5s, that's where it's at, and I've been really pissed at the other teams for being 3-0 stomps most of the time. So you gotta lead by example. I want a lot of best of 5s, and I wanted to go to game 5, so we gotta do the same. I mean, on a serious note, obviously, like I try. Okay, so I wanted to tank the bombs, so my Oriana could walk in and like try to DPS because I think there's like a fight going on in Baron Pit, but that was really stupid, and I'll never do it again. I'm so sorry. But on a serious note, like I definitely had a couple big missteps in like game 4, and it may or may not have looked slightly intentional by how bad it was.
Okay, so then let's move back to the Eve question then.
Okay, the Emax second.
Yeah.
So I mean, throughout all the years, I feel like Emax has just felt better, just because. Okay, so like if you W your target, first of all, that target will just run away most of the time, or like people will like really be looking at that guy. So it's not always you can proc the W. A lot of the time it's like I will come from a flank and I'll just like Q flash E ult or something like that, like just get my full rotation off. And a lot of time it just feels a lot better if you have the maximum damage, which is with your E, like maxing E second. If you can get a full W off and do that damage, obviously it's going to be more. But in general, just from playing a lot of E, just feels like the more how do you say like it what is that word I'm looking for? I'm looking for one specific word. So basically, like it's more reliable. Like
Okay.
sorry, that was the word. Like a lot more reliable because you always know what damage you're gonna do.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. Well, I'm glad we could get that answered. Before you turn into the ocean, I will
Yeah.
just ask you anything you want to say to any of the fans out there.
Just I'm so excited, and I really hope we can bring it home this time.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Best of luck drowning.
you.
For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things League of Legends right here on my YouTube channel. Hello. Hope you've been enjoying my coverage of the LCS playoffs. I've been enjoying you enjoying my LCS coverage. Because a lot of you guys have been watching my videos, and including this one. That feels very nice. Either way, the whole point of this is to let you guys know that, you know, in the past I referenced Intel Gamer Days happening with Alienware. Well, guess what? They've just kicked it into second gear. Is that what you kick it into? Or fourth gear? Fifth gear? They've kicked it up a notch because they now have 17% off of Intel systems. If you go to alienware.com/Travis, you'll see a code there. That's until September 6th. So if you're watching this after September 6th, you've waited too long to watch my content, and this should be a lesson to you to only watch my content whenever it's fresh and hot off the grill, hot off the camera, hot, whatever. Alienware.com/Travis. There's a link in the description below. You'll see a banner at the top talking about how to get 17% off an Intel system. And this outro is going way too long.